Hello everybody, welcome to this particular episode. As some of you may know, one of my main goals when I decided to start this new life journey was that I wanted to focus on my creativity. Now, obviously in season 1 of the vlog, we focused on a little bit of travel. On season 2, we focused a little bit more on like home life. Obviously it was winter, not so much traveling going on, especially when you live here in the Northeast, but I have been working on some creative stuff. Now, obviously the way that I don't want to say obviously, because you may or may not know this, the way that I do creative stuff is I do, like stories. I tell stories, but I tell stories, that often need other people. Okay. So I will write a play or I will write a film script or whatever. It's very rare that I write something that's like a book or a short story that's just to be read. And so I've been working on a bunch of things that obviously will be coming to fruition very soon. I mentioned that previously, but I had this weird idea for a story, but I wanted to do it in a non-typical format. And so over the course of about two-ish writing sessions, pretty much all stream of consciousness, I wrote a short story. I hold it in my hand right here. It's all told, including the cover page and everything else, it is 12 sheets of paper. That does not mean it's 12 pages necessarily. It is 12 sheets of paper. And so I wrote it, I printed it, I'm not going to lie to you, I barely even gave it a read through for spelling and grammatical errors, things like that. I more wanted to get the idea down and get someone to read it. I've often joked that my mother is my biggest critic, but I know she's also my biggest fan. And so I figured I would ask her to read it. So we're going to present this to her, and we're going to see where it goes from there. So, hey,
What?
I was just telling the people, I wrote this thing. So pretty much the way that this goes is over the course, I had this weird idea. You know, I don't write like short stories or anything very often. But I had this idea and I wanted to do it in like a non-traditional format. I barely have proofread it. I printed it, everything, and I wanted to know if you'd read it and give me your honest reaction. It's 12 sheets of paper, but that does not mean that there's 12 things. What?
12 sheets of paper?
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Says the woman who read 40 books so far this year, right?
Okay. Well, so wait, I want you to give me,
Okay.
as you're going through, do you want me to focus on you or on the pages?
On the pages.
Okay. So I want your honest feedback.
Okay, so I open it, and can I say what it says?
Yeah.
Okay, so I open it, it says turn to page 7 first. So then I flip through to page 7. I thought if there was no page 7, I was going to be like annoyed. Okay, can I read it out loud? Or would you rather I don't? Is this something that
you can, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, it says, hello readers, glad you made it here to the correct page, finally.
Because, well, I'm sorry, to be fair, if it's turned to page 7, there's obviously pages before that.
Right.
And
So
they have stuff on them.
Okay, so
You don't necessarily have to read them.
all right, so the first one is like, it says, why are you here?
That's what I'm saying. You don't necessarily
anyway,
have to read them.
I flipped to this. So it says, you made it to the correct page finally. This book is clearly unusual in its presentation. I had the idea to write this book in this format based on several ideas, but mostly I wanted to see if it could be done. This is a book that has more than meets the eye. You'll have to pay attention to any footnotes, directions, and more as they appear. This could almost never be done in audio format. It's an experiment of sorts, I guess. Experiment? What the heck was that word I just said?
It's an experiment of sorts.
No, but I said it's an experiment of sorts, I suppose. Are you up for the challenge? If so, please continue reading from here, following directions as they're given, and learn about the incredible story of the Roswell drop. Any specific details and instructions will be italicized. You'll be following along with our hero, Special Agent Dan Blackwell, as he investigates. Your own investigation may be happening as well. If you would like to keep going into this strange story and concept, step 1, turn to the next page. Okay. I'm just going to read it from here. I'm not going to read it out loud. Okay.
You don't necessarily have to point out like spelling errors or anything.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna keep reading. Taking the guy out in his underpants. That's pretty funny.
Where are you at? You've already missed a cue.
I missed a cue.
Yeah.
Where? Oh, okay then.
Footnotes.
All right. Well, I didn't realize, like, if there was a number, I would have.
Purposely didn't do numbers.
Okay, that's fine, because then then they'd be out of order. I get it. Okay. Mr. B. Okay, am I looking for...
No, you just read it as
Okay,
is.
well,
What does it say?
turn to page 4 and read the single complete page before returning here. Okay. I'm sorry. Should this say not without casualties on both sides?
I don't know. What did I say?
Not with casualties on either side.
Oh, it's probably supposed to be not without.
Okay.
Yeah. To be fair.
I just wanted to.
No. Like I said, I didn't really.
That was the only.
proofread this.
wasn't. That's the only thing I wanted to question, because like,
Yeah.
if there were no casualties, that would be amazing. But
Right.
I would presume that there would have been.
Yeah.
So yes, I am speeding up these bits of her actually reading the story, but you'll actually see here in just a moment that I messed up something in the formatting, and I comment on it. We have a brief conversation about it, but it is kind of funny to look at the fact that even with this being, the completed thing, I did mess it up just a little bit. And of course, she caught on to it. And that's kind of what I wanted her to do. I wanted to make sure that it was relatively cohesive and whatnot. So anytime there was any sort of minor error, if it was something that she could point out, that's what I wanted. One of the things that I wanted her to do, in addition to giving me feedback. So check that out in just a second here.
Wait, I'm confused.
About what?
Okay, it says this.
Yeah.
Is this the second page, or is
No.
this the second page? Okay.
Technically, if it was an actual book, it would have like a cover on it, right? No. It was just, I forgot to put the then come back to reading this page. It was more, this was the quote. See how it's in quotations?
Okay. All right. And because I thought it was like this.
It takes it back. No, it's
yeah,
not.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that would have been just terrible.
No, I just forgot to, in the footnote, I did forget to put the, then come back to this page. Actually, the rest of them.
Or just come back to this page.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
We are also going to skip ahead here just for the purposes of the flow of the video. It's a little bit more of her just reading the story. And so if there's any like things to point out with regards to the story or formatting, anything like that, I'm going to skip to that next bit now, just so y'all are aware. She was reading it. It's just for the purposes of the flow of the video. We're going to skip ahead just a little bit here.
Wait, did I miss a... Where's this one?
Right there?
No, that's a quotation mark. That's a quotation.
This one?
There it is. I missed it.
I didn't choose what the symbols were for the footnotes.
That's fine. That's
didn't choose numbers.
Yeah, that's fine. I just missed it because it looked similar to the...
I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
I purposely didn't choose numbers.
Yeah, I understand.
That's it. Okay. So, all right. Initial thoughts.
It's interesting. I like the way that it goes from place to place. I like that it jumps around. This ending made me sad, but I liked that you got backstory without backstory, taking up time and whatever. I mean, it's a short story, so is it?
So can I tell you my whole process of this?
Sure.
Okay, so I wanted to do something that was not traditional in the idea of what if, because there's a book called John Will Die at the End.
Okay.
And then that was turned into a movie and all of this stuff, but imagine you didn't know that was a thing and you're just in the bookstore or whatever and you see that that would intrigue you, right?
Yes.
And so I just figured something like this where the title is Turn to Page 7, and then the first couple pages are, although the words are in quotations, it's things like, why are you here? So you turn to page 1 and one could assume you haven't followed directions. So why are you here? And then
it says go to 7.
Go to 7 and things like that.
Yep.
So I tried doing that sort of weird, interesting format where basically to actually get to the story, because of course I'm sure there would be people who would be like, I'm gonna open it up because if they're saying go to 7, what's on these pages? And it's instructions. What you find out later is those actually have meaning in the story somehow, some way. Now, I will tell you, I focused more on the format than on the story, and I'm sure you were able to tell that.
I mean, it was an interesting story, but yeah, I mean, I like the idea.
More can be done with this. Again, I was focused more on the format. The other thing is,
I would have liked to see it go forward and back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't want to make it too complicated,
Well, it was
especially for like something that I knew was only going to be a few pages,
Right.
just to see if I could do it.
Right. No, it is interesting, and but yeah, I like but again, starts in the middle, and then you go here and you go there, and it's not a linear story, which is something I generally don't like, but it was.
But it also gives
interesting.
purpose for a physical copy of a book, which there's not many of those.
Right.
Everything is ebook
Right,
or
it is
audio.
not
But you could do an
something-
ebook, I suppose. But
Well, yeah, an ebook you could do, but it would not translate to Audible.
Yeah.
So the nice thing is that I can enjoy it, but the bad thing is that he could not.
yeah, talking about Tommy.
Tommy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tommy would not be able to enjoy it it also would not translate to it would not translate to the screen.
Well, yeah, you'd have to reformat it, tell it
Yeah.
through flashbacks or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. But
The
even at that, because you're jumping in the book, it would be interesting.
Well,
I
just
don't
be
think-
flashbacks.
Yeah, well, I guess.
But the other thing is, when I was looking, because I was like, I didn't want to take any of the ideas that I have that I want to expand into other things to tell this. So I was like trying to think of like, what could I do? And for some reason, my mind went to like a James Bond sort of thing. And I was looking on Reddit, and sometimes I will look through the like writing prompt things. I will look through the writing prompt things and just see if there's any like story ideas that I can like tweak, or maybe somebody will inspire me for something, or sometimes people will even have interesting formats. And I don't know if you noticed, I tried to put it in there where we can, because they suggested backwards, but I did it forwards. Every time a word is spelled out, it goes in sequential order. So on page 7, right, it says it says step 1. Other than in the instance of someone, anyone, like where it, or obviously, done, because it's DONE.
Right.
There's no other use of one in the entire story. There's only one use of two. And if you read it in the order it's intended, it's two. Back, and then even here, turn to page 4. But down here, I say the 5th page, because not 5, but this was 4. So somewhere up in here should be 3.
The 3rd floor.
No, I
that's not-
swear.
Oh, go to floor 3.
Go to floor 3,
And then
the next
4.
thing is 4, and then when you go there, that's back. Nope. Just one. Five. And then we go back. And then somewhere it's
I don't know, because I see 8 here.
yeah, so hold on.
Sorry.
So somewhere I can't read upside down. 6. Then somewhere in here you get
It
your
goes
footnote,
in, and then it says go to
7, and it's spelled out 7.
And then here's 8.
8. And then somewhere it'll say 9.
Yeah, because like down here it says go to the 3rd page, not
Yep,
page
yeah, so-
3.
so
oh,
at
when he was 9 years old, he
Yep.
lost the tooth.
9 years old, but even down here, as you said in the footnotes, it'll say the 1st or the 3rd. It doesn't say page 1 or page 3 or whatever. But in that one instance, it did say page 4. And then towards the end, it
says 10.
10. But the moment we get to 10 is when he dies. So we were counting. It's like that How I Met Your Mother episode where they were counting down, but this we were counting
Counting up.
up 1 through 10, and then he dies.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. It would be neat if they were like a color, you know,
Well,
but you don't
again-
want to do that because you don't want to draw attention to the fact.
Correct.
that
Now
but then
again, this was 100%. I was more focused. Not that I didn't want to tell a good enough story for you to remain interested, but I was 100% more focused on the format, because I'm sure you could tell even just now going through some of those numbers, they probably felt pigeonholed in, or whether you noticed it or not, you're like, yeah, it is kind of weird that, you're like the second, the fifth, the sixth, the first, but then it's page 4 in the footnotes.
Yeah, it didn't even cross my mind. So that was it was integrated well.
Okay.
You know, so
Okay.
it was very well integrated into the story. So that's not even, that's a non-issue.
Again, obviously, I could do the story part better. Like I said, I was more focused on the formatting of it and whatever, because I just picked a random number when I said, page 7. But I did, when I was writing it, I did the first few pages where it's like, why are you here? Go to 7. And so I wrote those first and was like, okay, now I have to put those into this story. So, because I went
Right.
back and added quotations around them. Because I was like, it's not good enough to just be on these pages. There should be a reason that they're on these pages.
Yeah. Well, this one should have been at the end.
Well, yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
But then
That
it would have
could-
been turned to page 6 or start at page 6.
But you know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Like it could have
'cause it would
been.
one less. That was the joke.
Yeah,
It would
no,
have been
no,
one
but
less
it,
page, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, but that would have been good if it was at the end, because people will flip through. Some people will flip through and read the last page.
It's over
and
being
it's
the last
over being
page.
the last page.
That would be funny.
You know what I mean? And so that was when I saw that, I'm like, it's not the end of the book. What? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Could have been.
Yeah.
Technically is.
yeah, but so like that it's kind of interesting to
Yeah.
do that. But
Well,
no,
like I said, I mean, and there's a very, very high chance I may never do anything with this.
Yeah.
This was more of an experiment for me, because you may
Well,
remember
it was a good writing. What do they call that?
writing exercise.
Yes.
But you may remember that one of the things that I wanted to do, and I talked about it in the opening of the video, that one of the things that I wanted to do when leaving my previous job and doing this new, sort of life journey thing, was I wanted to try and do different creative things, go back to some creative things that I'd done, but I wanted to flex my creative muscles. And it was difficult to try. Now, again, I'm not saying that I succeeded by any stretch, but it was difficult to try to combine the format that I wanted with a cohesive story. I think I did, but I don't think I did it well.
I think you did a good job. I think, and especially because it was something that you did rather quickly.
Yeah, it was like pretty much 2 writing sessions, and
Right.
it was pretty much stream of consciousness.
Right, so-
even as you were reading, I was like, oh, that's wrong, and
Yeah. So,
whatever.
but I mean, I like the story. I like the concept of it. I think the execution was good.
Which was the part I was more concerned about.
Yeah,
than
no,
the
I think-
story,
I think
which is very rare for me, because I'm always like, the story is the thing.
Yeah, so like
but
I said,
I wanted the execution to be
my
right.
only note would be that those notes are harder to.
Well, but
Right.
especially now that I've introduced the idea of the numbers meant something, in the sense of we were using. Now, does it make even more sense why I didn't
You didn't use
numbered?
numbers. Yeah, I understand
footnotes?
that. I understand that, but like I said, it's just because the dots look like.
Yeah. Well,
you know
I
what
didn't.
mean?
I didn't get to choose the symbols when you choose in the program that I used. When you choose to not do footnotes as numbers, it automatically and whenever you click insert footnote, it just automatically assumes a
Whatever it
symbol
is.
to
Yeah.
that, yeah.
But so, like I said, I like the story. I like the execution. I would have liked to know more, which is always what you want.
Correct. But
know?
again, this was more because in my mind, when I first came up with this idea of like, what if there was a book where literally the title is you're instructed to not start at the beginning, and then the book is told in a non-linear format. Because, and I know you said before, you're not necessarily big on TV shows or movies, or like you don't like
I don't like-
Tarantino movies. You're not that into like Lost even I'm sure sometimes when we do like the Buffy podcast and there's like flashbacks, you're like, I get it, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Per se.
And I mean,
I like that, but other than just literally it being a different chapter or whatever, I can't remember ever seeing or hearing of a book that basically did this, where have to flip back and forth.
I've
and
never
whatever.
Either.
And so to
it's
me,
kind of funny though, because it keeps reminding me of there's a monster at the end of this book.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
it's like, don't do this because that's going to happen.
Yes.
And it's kind of like that, you know, where...
But again, in my mind, I was like, oh, this could be like because there's, with this idea of turn to page 7 first, and then again, all these different, like, go back to this and go back to that. And I mean, even I like the idea of
for the next 3 pages, read every other
exactly, like you could easily do something like that, or
read every other paragraph or every other sentence, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that would be confusing as crap.
But I'm like, there's so much more you could do. But knowing that I wanted to do this and sort of show it off as like a small concept, I was like, let me just do something very quickly.
Anybody else that's watching this, what do y'all think? Would this be something that you would be interested in? Because like I said, it was really interesting reading it. I would have read it out loud to you, but it would have lost something in the translation.
That's
because
why it can't be an audiobook.
Right.
And I like that idea too, is like something that still is like the page. And I know that would piss people off. It would piss me off because I'm not really a reader like that either. But
again, it's something that you could theoretically do. It's something you theoretically could do with like a Kindle or an e-reader.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So let me know what you think. Is this something that I should put out in some way? Obviously, it would be in like an e-format because I don't have the ability to publish it, mass style. But and it's not the greatest story that I've ever told to do that with. It was I've said I was more focused on the formatting of it. But let me know what you think. Did you like the conversation about it? There will be more creative stuff coming soon on the channel in the videos. But this was just a peek into sort of how my creative mind works, what I'm doing, and how I am focusing on that goal that I did set out for myself when I started doing this channel. So let me know down below. Like, share, subscribe, all the things, hit the bell, I guess, whatever. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.